If you've ever been on a sports team and you ever had the privilege of having a great coach, one of the greatest lessons you will learn from him or her is to play to the whistle. You see, because in every sport, there can be disagreements while you're playing. There could be some calls that you would not agree to. There could also be people in the stands that are making all kinds of noise regarding a situation. But the most important thing to keep yourself in the game is to play to the whistle. And you know what's interesting? There are times where maybe you thought you were going to win that particular game, and for some reason, you know what? You lost. And while you were losing, you still had to play to the whistle. While you won, you were still playing to the whistle. In a moment where you received a bad tackle that perhaps was not called, you still continue to play to the whistle. But friends, it is no different from where we are today, especially in this season where there's all manner of things and all kinds of challenges that many of us have been going through, and God is still calling us to play to the whistle, because there is something about the whistle that is reflective of the one that is regulating the game. See, God is the one that is regulating the affairs of this world. And as he has sent Jesus Christ to die for us and told us that the same power that raised Jesus from the dead lives in you and me, we don't have to stop playing until the whistle is blown. See, in Acts chapter 13 verse 36, the Bible tells us that David, after he had completed and fulfilled God's purpose for his life, that he slept with his ancestors where he was buried. You know what's important about that scripture? That David never stopped playing to his purpose until the end of his life. See, there comes a time where you might go through some challenges like David. See, David never thought that he will find himself committing adultery. David never thought that he will find himself losing a battle to some of his enemies. David never thought that he will find himself running away from the very king that he helped his army to defeat a giant that he couldn't defeat. But I want you to know today that yet still David kept on playing to the rules of the game. And the rules of the game was to follow the leadings of his creator, to follow the leadings of his God. In high times, he was following the leadings of his God. In low moments, he was following the leadings of his God. There is something about playing to the whistle of the one that regulates the game that keeps you relevant in that game. See, there are times where we may have played a sport or watched our favorite team and see that some calls seem to be bad, right? Some calls seem to be unfair, but yet still we see the players playing. Why? Because it's not over. Maybe you're hearing me right now and you're going through some challenging times. You thought 2020 was going to be the year. You saw the hashtags, decade goals and so on and so forth. And here we are in all kinds of different situations and unknowns. Some of us unfortunately lost friends and loved ones. This has been a very difficult year. But I want you to know something. The God is still on his throne. That no matter what you're going through, don't quit. Don't stop because it's getting difficult. See, I'm reminded of a story back in high school where we got to play our biggest soccer game of the year, Port Huron Northern High School versus Port Huron High School, our rivals. And this game was so tense. Every pass, every decision, every tactical move was so to the letter because nobody wants to lose. And we're almost at the end of this game and we're still tied. And something interesting happens. See, one of my players or my teammates actually hits the ball and it hits actually the hands of our opponent. So that's supposed to be a foul. But the referee decided not to call it. And we were all standing there jumping and complaining. It's a foul. It's supposed to be a free kick. And these guys kept playing and they went ahead, made a counter attack and scored on us. That's how they won the game. See, when I look back, I just noticed how we decided to take the situation into our own hands and play to our rules by complaining and not realize that that referee, whether we agree with him or not, has the final say. And that's how we lost the game. Brothers and sisters, I want you to know that we don't have to sit back and live in a moment of complaining, but this is a time for us to press in a heart and in a resolute mind and a conviction of the one who has called us, to know that God is faithful and he is committed to make sure that you and I do not fail. So today, as you go out there, as you start your week, I want you to go out there knowing this. That God has a purpose for you, and you and I, regardless of the season, have a great opportunity to play to his whistle. And when we do so, we get the victory in the end. It's not over because God is not done. Have a wonderful day.